BobbyFi with Eric Sheets. We're going to be talking through today's MLB slate as we get ready for lock. Sheets, I didn't do great yesterday. I had some lineups that were threatening for a while, and I had some Texas stacks that looked really good, but just couldn't quite get there with the combos. How did you do? And tell me a little bit about your night, and we'll jump into the day's slate.
I had a couple of sweats in the in the lottery actually for a while. Did all right there, but as far as baseball goes, not so hot. Did well in hockey, but we're talking baseball, so we'll get back right into it. I didn't like that the Guardians got swept by the Tigers yesterday.
Yeah, the two games, and also you got good pitching out of our guys. Like there was nothing you could do. You know.
Yeah. So hey, you know what? Now we got to get one. So let's get one.
It's a 3 or 4. Yeah, you get today. You feel like you got a good shot, but we got to get today.
Let's get one.
The only other thing about the doubleheader to make it even worse is you might lose your second Bieber start of the week.
Yeah,
a little bit unfortunate. Anyway,
well, it is what it is.
It does speak to your point of what you said about weather being important this time, and you know what I mean? Because I do think the variance goes up when you play the doubleheader, and also you could potentially lose that pitcher for a second start because of the number of days between starts.
Well, we got through the Texas, our Texas in the other pool. I mean, well, we didn't get through yet, but well on their way over there.
Yeah.
And I first looked at today's slate, it looked as though the pitching was extremely fishy. I couldn't quite figure out what I was gonna do, and like I'll give you an example. So this is what I did before I looked at projections or anything today. Was my original idea yesterday was going to play all the Cardinals with Cobb and Woodford were going to be the pitchers. That was just eyeballing it. Now I think I've kind of come to something a little different now, but that was kind of my idea because when I first looked at him, like Justin Steele looks like the best pitcher, but do I really want to play 9,700 for him? I'm not the best pitcher, obviously. Scherzer's the best pitcher, but. Steele seemed to be the obvious guy to start with, but at 9,700, I was curious to see how he's going to project. Then the Alex Cobb, just to me, just kind of like eyeball, seemed to make a little bit. Seemed to make sense because of the price and the matchup and all that. So that's what I was at going into today, and I did I imagined that the Cardinals against Bumgarner were going to be popular, and I imagined that the Pirates against again in Colorado again we're going to be popular.
Yeah, I think the most popular team is going to be the Cardinals. It's incredible hitting weather there, and we could go about this two ways. We could go game by game, or
we can go game by game.
Okay, let's go game by game because I do think we'll get to the Cardinals game, but that whole game feels like a very, very stackable spot, to me.
Sheetbot said true DFS MLB projections have been updated. They should be available on SaberSim in a few minutes.
Anyway, so let's go game by game. Let's go through your list and see what you like.
Yeah. So it's the first game I have Cleveland, Detroit, and in another world, I would actually consider Turnbull at 6K. Just for I don't know, just for lack of pitching on the slate in general. Doesn't really project all that great though. I'm probably not going to do it. With respect to the hitting, I was looking at it and I guess Cleveland looks okay. I have a team I like better than them. That kind of may project a little better and maybe even be a little lower owned, which I'm going to get to. But I guess Cleveland is reasonable. So for me, I guess that means that either it's Turnbull or against Turnbull for me. And I don't think Quantrill has enough strikeout upside for me to play, and that's about it.
Yeah, so the strikeout upside is the only reason not to play Turnbull. This is the exact kind of slate where you can use these dumpster diving pitchers. Not that he's so bad, but also Cleveland doesn't strike out in general. I initially, my first look was I was going to stack Cleveland in my first builds, but the weather there has got me off of that one. And it's a really important thing to focus, especially this early in the season, on weather. You have some really, really good hitting weather games, and you've got 50 degrees in Detroit with the winds blowing slightly in. Just not going to be able to do it. Maybe I'll leave it in one lineup because it was my original build and I like it quite a bit. I also like the idea of trying to attack Detroit, and I think Cleveland breaks out from that 3-run. What have they scored? 4 runs the last 2 games. I think they do break out of it soon, but it just doesn't feel good enough. I do think both pitchers are viable, and I probably won't end up using either one of them.
So I'm gonna deal with the San Francisco Miami game. I'm gonna do something I don't usually do. I'm gonna ask this in the sarcastic way that a lot of people ask stuff like this.
Okay.
Why is Trevor Rogers so popular? Why does he project so well? And why would anybody play him at that ownership? In other words, like,
why do you have that? Why? Like, I don't understand what's the counter? What's the reason? Trevor Rogers is an excellent talent. I don't know what's the downside. What's the negative on him here?
Oh, so you're just phrasing it a different way. Like, I can't imagine Trevor Rogers being looked at as like being really good. I mean, I don't know. He's got 3 starts this year. His last one was good. The other 2 were awful. And
sample size. He's got incredible. He's got stuff where he can put up Justin Steele like numbers, and San Francisco doesn't hit lefties very well. That's
okay. And San Francisco has been hitting the ball. I don't want him. But he projects to be one of the top plays on the slate. You want to know that, for me, and at 37% ownership or whatever it is, I'm just not going to do it. So. That's and I guess that's just my counter is that it just feels wrong. I don't know. That's the best I can describe it. So you like Trevor Rogers in the spot? I me's
fine. It's fine. There's not a lot of good pitching options, so I would have been shocked if he wasn't one of the most popular pitchers on the slate. There's very few guys here who you're deciding between that actually have like ultimate winning stuff. I think Alex Cobb on the other side ends up almost as popular, and I actually am totally fine with both these guys. Building my lineups out first, the only pitcher that I'm, you're really afraid of just blowing you out of the water is probably Steele, and I think Rogers would be the next guy. My guess is I don't have the K props in front of me, but I would guess that he would be probably second behind what's his name on the strikeout props. Scherzer, yeah. And then you look at San Francisco's lineup, you don't even have like an actual starting player until you get to the 6th hitter, and that's a lefty. So so you basically don't have anybody who starts games except for against lefties. Now you can say that means they're specialists. None of these guys should be intimidating to you. The Estrada, Flores, Ruff, Davis. But yeah, you have no problem. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with your take and just not wanting to play him. I just don't think you have like other great options that stand out as being significantly better than him.
Well, that's true. I mean,
I'm a little bit more on the Cobb side, but it feels a little bit wrong because Cobb is more of a safety. I feel good about him getting closer to 16 to 20, and Rogers I think has more upside and probably more downside as well. But I don't think I'm terribly worried about his downside. So I do have both these guys on my list, and I'm really okay just on this kind of slate. Just get me through the pitching. I'll get to my hitters because I don't know what to do with the pitchers. Just yet, outside of Steele, who stands out. But even that, there's some variance. And talking about this, so I think this is the game of the day, the Arizona-St. Louis game. I don't think the pitching is viable on either side, especially given the weather conditions. And I think that you're going to have an incredible – I do think Arizona is going to be more popular than Colorado today. But what I would propose to you is why not just jump on the other side of this and play Arizona or play both sides of it? Because you're not going to get ownership on Arizona. There's nothing about this Woodford that has shown anything solid at all. He can't strike anybody out. He's just a guy, really. And you've got the Diamondbacks. We've talked about being pesky. Now you put them in, it's 80-degree weather and winds blowing out 20 miles an hour to left field, left center. Sign me up. I'm in on the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are just going to have extreme chalk. Just beware of that.
Yeah, I mean, you could play something like Rogers and Cobb together from that earlier game and then play all the Cardinals.
So particularly on the low scoring slates, I would not be trying to play pitchers from the same game if you don't think the upside is high. Like we're talking about 2 guys with that, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I would throw in there. Just because we're expecting 16 to 20 from our top pitchers today for the most part.
Well, I didn't mean it as much as being a good lineup, as much as is that if you want to play a really chalky St. Louis stack, that you can get away with it, at least ownership-wise, by playing. Well, I don't know. You can't play Rogers, I guess. People are going to play Steele, aren't they?
Yeah, it's going to be Steele and Rogers as the most popular.
Okay.
But what do you think about this Arizona idea? I mean, not only are they low owned, they're affordable. This is a good matchup for them. There's great hitting weather. I could go on and on. I feel like this is the way you get different if you want to play the Cardinals. You play both sides of the game.
Yeah. I think I have Arizona being owned the same as Colorado.
Wow, that's a drastic difference from. I'm interested to see that because that's wow. SaberSim doesn't have any player but in Arizona that has one player.
I have Colorado really low owned. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty ugly weather in that game, but yeah, that's
it's not. No. It's not as if Arizona is high owned.
Right.
I just have them as like the same as Colorado, and I have them the same. I have them higher owned than Cleveland. And there's another team I like even more. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, you don't have to sell me on Arizona. I love playing Arizona.
And by the way, I don't usually play Arizona, so I'm one of those guys where I get a little stuck on my team. So if I decide to play Arizona or San Francisco on certain days, I tend to do pretty well with those ones. So I like when I have a take that actually matches up with something that works out well for me in general.
But the other thing is that one thing you did hit on is that this guy really can't miss bats at all. This Woodruff, not Woodruff, Woodford.
Yeah,
Woodruff can miss bats. He just can't get on the mound quite yet.
Right. We just need him to stay on the mound. How about that? You just lose your pitcher and I mean, oh man, gotta run a little better. Anyway, we'll move on to Texas and KC. Another great hitting weather game.
Yeah, I heard the wind might be blowing out like 20 miles an hour.
25 miles an hour. and I touched on this last night, and everybody's like, "Oh, Texas sucks during the live show." And I said, well, I'm going to switch.
How does Texas suck? Texas is awesome.
Well, but when they're missing their two best hitters, they're a lot worse.
Listen, they're not missing their two best hitters. They have Young and Jankowski. I mean,
Get out of here. Get out of here, Sheets, with the blasphemy. Get out of here. And then, of course, I got cute. I decided to play it cute with my stack and somehow leave Adolis. It actually was a mistake. I left Adolis Garcia out of my thing, which looked great for a while. I was first in the 250 forever, and then of course Garcia hits a grand slam in the 8th inning.
But Marcus Semien hits a home run every day.
I know. But the thing I want to do in this game is embrace a lot of variance and say, if we're going to play these other speculative pitchers, why aren't we considering? I mean, it's great hitting weather, sure, but you have two pitchers who I think both are interesting. And especially like Brady Singer, I think Brady Singer has upside here. I know he's had some tough matchups. He hasn't looked good so far. I still believe he's actually a decent pitcher and got decent stuff. And you look at Perez, and what's wrong with Perez? He has to go he had to go pitch a win game in Chicago where he didn't pitch great, but still had 14 fantasy points. He had to go pitch at Houston, not a great matchup, had 14 fantasy points. He put up 22 against Philly before that. He's got a leash. I think both these guys are in play when we have speculative pitching. They're both in play. The problem is they both pitch to enough contact to where it kind of scares me. But I think Brady Singer is going to make the list for me, and maybe even that's the way I get different with my Cardinal stacks. I also, however, don't mind a Texas stack, but I don't think I'm going to be doing it today. My impression was that everybody was going to go that direction. It doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like it's going to be probably like the third or fourth, maybe the fourth highest owned team, Texas. But I don't know. What do you think about the idea of maybe playing Brady Singer here?
Yeah, I thought of that, and that was going to be my my idea. And then I woke up and I was listening to some podcast where they told me it's going to be 20 miles an hour blowing out, and it kind of scared me off of it.
Scares me too, for sure.
So I don't know if I'm gonna have the cojones to do it. But you know me, I play Brady Singer every day.
Yeah.
I'm there at his last start when he gets 7 runs in the first inning. You know what I mean? Like I'm there for it. You know.
Right.
So I just don't know. Like you said, I think on a slate like this, you just kind of want to survive your pitching and not necessarily just go for the big hero smash. You know.
Fair enough.
So that's why I don't think I'm gonna do it. I'd rather play one of those like Miami guys. You know what I mean? Like either Cobb or Trevor Rogers, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe just screw it, just play freaking Steele and Scherzer together or something like that. I don't know. We'll get to all that, but yeah, I kind of want to play the other side. I kind of want to play the hitting in this game, like Texas and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Texas projects better. I mean, they project as well as like anybody here. I mean, aside from the obvious, the St. Louis and Pittsburghs and Atlantas and wherever it is. I don't know. I mean, Texas, I think I'm going to start playing them every day, like I play Atlanta every day. That just compares to beat that. I'm not quite getting to quite as much to Kansas City quite as much. So maybe I'll play some Texas. Maybe I will bite the bullet and play one of these pitchers at the end of the day.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the Philadelphia-Chicago game. For what it's worth, we do not have good hitting weather in this game. It's 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing directly in from center, 61 degrees, so it's not like freezing or anything like it's been. I am going to just repeat this over and over again. I think that if you're looking for get weird plays, Clevenger would be the guy. I don't want to take pictures against Philadelphia in general. I do like, especially guys who are walk happy like Clevenger. But look, I don't believe this guy's nearly as broken as people think. I don't even understand why they do. I know that we have a difference of opinion on when it comes to him, but I truly think that Clevenger still has like tremendous stuff, and he has a leash. Like he's had one bad outing in his 3 starts and 2 really good outings. Just a guy worth mentioning. I don't think I'm going to play him today, but I just want to keep an eye on him and see how he goes going forward. It actually seems like a bad matchup, but the weather almost talked me back into it. And I'm not going to be playing any Taijuan Walker, and I'm not playing any of the hitting here.
Yeah, I think Clevenger's reasonable here again. Like we're just trying to find something, and the thing that you kind of hit on perfectly is that even though he is he definitely lose control and whatever it is, he does still have sort of strikeout upside, but the key thing that you mentioned was they'll let him stay in there. He does have a leash, and that's kind of like a floor, right, for pitchers. So right. I do like that. And yet on the other side, I have to say that Philly is showing up as one of my better stacks, given ownership and given everything like that. So I might have some Clevenger. I might end up with my main stack being Philly, though. I don't know. I've been looking at this for a total of like 10 minutes right now, so I'm not sure.
I'm a little bit too much. I'm not going to play a team hitting into 13-mile-an-hour winds like to try.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm asking you about the weather and stuff, because I don't think I want to do that either.
Yeah, especially where it matters, like Chicago. Like it's one of those games where even if Philly has scored like 10 runs, I don't think you're seeing a lot of it come from power. Just my take. But then again, we haven't really seen a lot of those huge power games, so maybe it's not the worst idea in the world. And Philly is an interesting. I mean, they're definitely a get different stack, that's for sure. Okay, so do you have Colorado first or the Dodgers?
No, I have Mets Dodgers. So Kershaw got his revenge against the Yankees for 77 and 78 last night. Oh, that was against the Yankees. Sorry about that. So now they're playing the Mets. I keep getting. I got the revenge confused. So how about a couple of things? First of all, you have the Mets coming to play to go against to Syndergaard, and Syndergaard was already someone who was very prone to give up, stolen bases anyway, and with this season like being different.
The Dodgers are the worst in the league at allowing stolen bases, yeah.
And not only that, right? Forget even the other Dodgers. I mean, like Syndergaard's one of the worst, and so I think that we don't really talk about one-offs too much, but you want to get Sterling Marte on the base paths. You know what I mean? Like he'll probably make it to third. And I think the Mets are very much in play today.
Yeah, you go with the Marte Lindor. You can include Beatty. I understand that they're in play. I also think we should probably mention that Syndergaard's probably in play at 6,500.
Yeah, I was getting to that. And yet on the other hand, again with the absence of pitching, Syndergaard is like the min. You know what I mean? Like he's just just really, really cheap. I'm not expecting much, but if he gets me 12, maybe that's good enough. It really might be good enough. I really don't know.
He might be able to get you 20 though.
Okay, I guess. Okay. So then on the other side, you have Scherzer, who is I think on another slate, I would probably avoid him. Because he really hasn't put up good ceiling type stuff like yet this year. And the Dodgers can be tough, but there's not a lot to do here on this slate. And maybe I should just pay the 10-8 and take my 20 points, and just kind of move on, because even if he doesn't have a great game, he's going to probably get 20. The Dodgers have not been exactly the greatest hitting team in the world this year.
Still second in the league in scored, just for the record.
What's that?
Second in the league in runs scored, just for the record.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird because they go these horrible stretches, but they somehow are second in the league in runs scored.
Okay.
Or they were at least going into the day before yesterday, anyway.
Yeah, so I like Scherzer, and I think if I had to pick one between Scherzer and Steele, I guess we'll get to Steele in a second. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I like Scherzer. Kind of like the Mets. I'm not going to play the Dodgers. And I think any of those Mets that you mentioned, those base stealing guys, are good one-offs, even if you don't include them in stacks.
Yeah, I honestly think that the ownership is way too low on Scherzer. And obviously, I'm a Dodger fan, but this is not the Dodger lineup. I mean, take Mookie Betts out of the lineup, it's not going to be the same thing. And we don't know when he'll be back. So, look, even Freddie Freeman, tons of history with Scherzer. Mostly Scherzer just pretty dominant against him, but not like crazy, but dominant when you consider that it's Freddie Freeman. Scherzer against the guys he'll be facing today will have about a 30, a little over 30% K rate. And if you look at this Dodger lineup, if you're seriously putting Jason Hayward, Vargas, Peralta, Rojas, and Barnes at the bottom of the order, what the hell are we afraid of? Is it just because the name is Dodgers that we're afraid? Outman leading off, and I love Outman, but even again, you got a young kid, and so who are you really afraid of? You're afraid of Muncy, JD, and JD only because he hit 2 home runs last night. He hasn't looked like himself in a couple of years, and Freddie Freeman. So Muncy and Freddie Freeman, who he already dominates, it seems like a really good spot to play Scherzer, and it seems like the kind of spot where if you had put a different name on the jersey, the Dodgers might be the Scherzer might be 75% owned. Seriously, if you just put Cubs instead on this exact Dodger lineup, I think Scherzer might be 75% owned. So that's enough for me to talk myself in, and it took me till this moment in the show, but I do think that is the right answer, is to try to play Scherzer and Steele, and I do think that there is the upside for him. But I also, because the Dodgers are pesky enough and they work counts and all that stuff, it's probably okay to not to spend down today. But I don't think when Scherzer's going to be 20% on, we should be I think if you're playing if I was playing 150, he would be in half my lineups. Whether he makes it just for one, I think he probably does for my one big buy-in. But if I'm not, I do think Syndergaard is in play, and it scares the hell out of me. But I agree. I like your stance on the Mets with the stolen base. I think it's a really, really important thing to look out for. For what it's good, Syndergaard's been good in 2 out of the 3 starts this year. He's good enough at 6,500 if you did want to consider him. But if you play a Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, all of those guys could end up with double stolen bases. You could get 6 stolen bases today, and then Syndergaard's just totally dead. The Mets are also very patient. These are the 2 most patient teams in baseball, but basically, at least in terms of walks, at least they were as of before yesterday. So I am not getting after the hitting in this game personally. I have no problem if you wanted to take the Mets angle. They're just really expensive. And I am going to play Scherzer probably in my biggest buy-in, but I'm still not 100% decided on that yet.
All right, so I guess the reason why Colorado is not popular is because the Acevedos had 2 straight great starts. Is that the?
No, it's the weather.
It's the weather. Why is Pittsburgh really popular?
Well, I guess that's part of it, yeah. And then there's the perception of Gomber. I don't have a great answer for you, but I'm telling you right now that the total for this game is lower, I think, than is it lower than the Arizona game? No, well, neither team in this. Arizona's projected to score 6.3 runs, and these teams are both 5.7 and 5.3, which is pretty low for Colorado. 12-mile-an-hour winds blowing in, 61 degrees. Nothing crazy.
Right.
So yes, I think, and I think that people do have some respect for this. He's got some stuff, and people are talking about playing him. I wouldn't play him, but I don't think it's like the worst thing. What are you doing with this game, though, Sheets?
Yeah, I am probably not going to play it. I'll play very, very small amount of Pittsburgh. I'll probably be off of Colorado, and I'm not going to be so brave as to take either of the pitchers. But I'm mostly going to be off. I'm going to be off of Pittsburgh only because they're going to be popular. I'll have some, but I'll probably be under on them, and I probably won't get to Colorado in the end. Maybe that's a mistake.
I think it's sharp if you're playing like 3 lineups, they'll be in one of my 3, for example. You know what I mean? Just because they're going to be sub 8% owned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seems kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Any other pitcher, and we're going to just assume that a young pitcher that's automatically going to be good in his first start at Coors, like, seems a little fishy to me.
Yeah, you could be right.
Anyway, sorry, I hijacked my question to you.
No, I mean,
I'm into Colorado for what it's worth, just as even though the wind blowing in, but it's still Colorado and always good hitting weather. And I'm trying to get an updated projection, but it might change some of the ownership. Like Moustakas is in the lineup at 2,900, and look, I mean, it's been a couple of years since he's really done anything, but he's 2,900. He's got immense power, and it's he takes up a third base spot that is solid today. If you're there's not a lot of spend down options at third, so I think that they might be a little more popular than they're projecting, but still, it's low enough for me that I just think we probably should have some pieces of it. It looks like, it's funny, I just updated the projections. They're starting to get some ownership. Like it's literally doubled since the last time I checked about 15 minutes ago.
Who?
Colorado.
Oh, really?
Things are adjusting. And part of it, I think it does take the Moustakas 2,900 play. You know what I mean? Because it does take up a position that you just don't have that many cheap options. I still think that the Blackmon and the good guy like Blackmon, Bryant, the top of the guys won't be high owned for the most part. I think Profar and Moustakas get owned a little bit. So I'm a little less into Colorado than I was a minute ago. But I still think it's a reasonable. If ever you get a team sub 10% in Colorado, you should probably at least be getting some exposure there. Do you have any other thoughts on this one?
No. Chicago, Oakland. So this is the Steele thing. For what it's worth, I'm probably not going to play him.
Okay.
I'm just doing these cheaper things. I think that I'm going to play Scherzer with cheapos, and then I think I'm going to play cheapos with cheapos and mid-range with mid-range. I know that Steele's got the. He's got the matchup. He's got he's got a good floor. He's pitching really well. It's just 9,700 is just tough. Tough for me at least. The one I will mention, first of all, I don't even know who's pitching for Oakland still, by the way.
No, nobody does. I think it's going to be a bullpen game. Pretty sure.
It'll be a bullpen game, and so I don't think I want to stack the Cubs, but I will just point out that. What's his name has been basically running rampant on the universe. The Nico Horner.
Yep.
So again, for one-offs and stuff like that, what is he like 10 stolen bases already or something like that?
He leads the league. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
not as many as any other team, I think.
Yeah. So I might end up as a result stacking Chicago. You know what I mean? When you have that as part of your stack, it makes it go. Yeah. So it's possible I do that. I mean, I'm not so afraid. Usually, you're afraid of stacking like bullpen games, but who's in the Oakland bullpen? Like Eckersley? You know what I mean? Like I'm not
right.
too worried about that.
It's more just the rotation per inning, but I got you.
Right. And on the other side, obviously, I don't want to take. I don't want to take anybody from Oakland against Chicago. I know that Eric Johnson's going to have 20% Oakland, but aside from him, I'm not going to get any of that.
Yeah, so I like Steele. I don't think it's that hard to get Steele and Scherzer in. I think that's like if I was playing a cash game lineup, I'd probably ignore these other plays and play just play the two guys who I feel like are going to get me at least 15 and have the upside of getting 35. I just think you play them. That's my take. I totally agree with what you said about some of the Cubs side, especially the Horner thing. This is a guy who in the past we couldn't even consider as a one-off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was at 2,200, but now he steals. Every time he's on base, he steals, and he's never caught. He always steals, and that's good enough for me. So I kind of hear you with the Cubs. I just don't think I'm going to get to that stack. I'm sort of keeping my stacks really narrow today. So far, I've only got 3 of them, but we'll get to one more before we're done. Seattle and Milwaukee here. I just think this game is going to be a stay away from me. I have no problem if anybody wants to talk themselves into anything else here. I just personally feels like a stay away game for me.
I have and I've been doing some MLB stuff while we've been talking here. I'm getting like 0. You know what I mean? I'm getting like 0 Milwaukee. I'm getting 0 Seattle. I'm getting 0 the pitchers. I mean, if Gonzalez were like 6K or something like that, I'd take a shot. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know about anyone.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about the last one then.
Yeah. So I'll start. So currently, as it stands right now, Atlanta's my highest owned stack.
Yeah.
Just building on SaberSim and stuff, not doing, tweaking or anything like that. So that's very interesting, right? Not making any real changes except for just kind of cranking for ownership a little bit. I'm getting more Atlanta than anybody, and every day they put up runs.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to doing it again. And I'll tell you, I really wasn't expecting to even bring this up, but I even forgot that Charlie Morton was pitching today. I mean, I'm looking at his projection for whatever reason is extremely poor.
Well, San Diego,
I guess,
and he hasn't been good.
I guess
he's been okay, but he's been.
But all those things matter more when they're really good pitching options. I think. I don't know. I'm not opposed to taking a shot at something like this.
You got a wider range of pitchers than I do.
I just don't know. I just don't know what I want to do.
No, but you're making an interesting. Think about it like this. So we're saying Rogers is going to be chalk, but we won't play Charlie Morton at the same price. So I kind of from that angle, what you're saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we take a shot on Morton?
I'm gonna tell you right now who I think I'm gonna play, and it's somebody that we mentioned in this show, and it's someone who I mentioned that I was thinking of playing, and then the wind talked me off. But I think I might be on the Brady Singer thing today. I mean, I just kind of feel like having my lineup dead after one inning. That's kind of kind of the mood I'm in. I think.
Watch, he'll give up 3 runs in the first inning. You'll feel dead, and then he'll strike out 10 guys over the next 7 innings or something.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's only fair, seeing as I play Texas every other freaking day, right?
And you play Brady Singer. It's sort of like the meeting of the worlds for you.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be Singer. I don't know. Cobb, Scherzer. Boy, oh boy! I don't know what I really don't know. Yeah. Jake Woodford. These guys are so cheap. You know who's going to break the slate. It's going to be freaking Bumgarner. He'll come up with his tricks against the high-owned Cardinal team.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so, but we'll see.
I don't think so either.
Sure. I have it pretty simple. I have Scherzer, Steele, try to play them together if you can't afford to. I have Cobb and Rogers in the next tier down, and I have my get weird plays as Singer and Syndergaard, and I will absolutely play a Singer with Syndergaard lineup. I understand the fear of the Syndergaard, and I understand stacking against him, but he's 6,500. He's a more than a competent pitcher, and not a guy who I was recommending at 84 or whatever he was the other day on a giant slate with great pitching. 65 without great pitching, you can convince me that he can get 6 innings through the Mets. Also, if he's going well, I do think against your former teams, you get a little bit of an extra leash. I also think there's a chance that his former team just completely explodes on him, but I'm willing to embrace that. So I want to do the double embrace, play a Syndergaard Singer lineup, and then I can play whoever I want. And for my main lineup, I'll probably end up with Scherzer Steele. And we got Chuck in here asking about Perez. I did mention that Perez and Singer are both completely viable today. I'm not getting to Perez, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. It's just it's really good hitting weather, and you have a fly ball pitcher. It's a little bit dangerous. Which even I should add that I do think you want to get into some of the like if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I think having like a couple of 2-mans or 3-mans from KC is certainly viable. Even though I don't want to fully stack against Perez, but I have to say, yeah, St. Louis, Arizona, Colorado, Atlanta for me. That's what I'm doing. So the pitchers that we answered the question of pitchers we like, answered all these things. Any other questions, guys? Pop them on in here. I'm going to finish my builds and see what we can.
Just a couple of announcements too. I'm still considering what to do about tonight. First of all, I thought about it. I was going to attempt to do some kind of projections or something for the golf, but it's such a not ridiculous. I mean, it's like a fun format, but it's just such a hard format for me to get my arms around, at least from a Sheets perspective, that I'm not going to put anything like that out. But I am probably going to, I mean, look, who am I kidding? I'm probably going to play, right? I just don't know exactly how I want to handle that. So, yeah. So you want to if you want to do like a video, Bobby, I'll do it with you. You know, it's not going to be very projection based or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for me to figure out as well. But I'm happy to talk about it.
But I have a narrative for you.
What's that?
So I don't know if you follow this, but like Morikawa and his partner, they got like Dodger jerseys. They're gonna wear them. I think they're like Kamikawa or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're going to be wearing Dodger jerseys. On the Rick show, Rick like bought like 4 of them or something like that. There's something Dodger related with Morikawa. So
yeah, to be honest, I don't understand this format as well as I should.
I know the format, but I still don't know how to predict it.
Yeah, it's a little harder for me, but I will play a few lines. I'll post them. I don't know if we want to do a show, but I'm happy to talk about it. I know you didn't want to do the live. I do think there's
but I think I might do it though. So here's the deal with
I'll be around, man.
Yeah, so here's the deal with tonight. So tonight there's like a 4-game MLB slate. Listen, it's $20K for first, whatever. And then there's the NBA slate and the NHL playoffs. I kind of want to continue to. I mean, I want to cover these things before they become like showdown slates. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Why not?
So I'm going to do it. Let's call it again. 11 p.m. live. We'll talk about NBA. We'll talk about NHL. We'll talk about the MLB slate because I'm definitely going to play it. Oh, by the way, that's another announcement. Is once this locks. I'm going to replace these projections with the ones from later. I have no idea if it's going to work because the way we have it coded, like if it's an early slate, that's the main slate. I don't know where the night slate one's going to end up. So it's possible you guys will never see them, but I am going to be posting sheets somewhere. You just gotta just imagine that they're there somehow. And what I might do is if you guys can't see them, I'll go into like Discord later and just post like the raw sheet, like the raw spreadsheet or something like that. But that'll only be in the premium channel. But yeah. And then just so you guys know, we're doing MMA tomorrow. We'll do MMA betting on Friday. I'm sure there's NASCAR throughout the weekend and all the other stuff. But yeah, I want to go. You want to go live tonight?
Yeah. I'm happy to do it. I'll be around.
Okay, because we have the NBA slate. We'll do it. No. But you want to go live before lock tonight?
Oh, for the NBA slate. So what do we do? Maybe we do it at 6:30 or I don't know. No. That says what time is the baseball? Is at 6:40, right?
Yeah. So you tell me what you want to do.
We'll just do 6.
6 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right.
Well, wait, what starts at 6:40? Baseball?
I think I don't know. Actually, I haven't done. I'm trying to build my lineup still before the slate locks. So I haven't figured it out yet, but I will.
Well, I'm going to be posting sheets for the NBA and the NHL within the next hour or so, and then we'll let you know about later. But I'm definitely planning on being around at 11 o'clock.
Awesome. Sounds great. So likewise.
All right, later.
All right, bud. Take it easy. Good luck, everybody.